Greetings and welcome to Bioshock Infinite Explained Part 2. This is going to be the walkthrough with the maximum amount of spoilers, plotline discussions and foreshadowing, spotting as we go through. So if you haven't yet played through the game on a normal mode or to see the plot, experience it for the first time, please do so. But let's get cracking on as we enter the fair that we arrived at last time in Part 1. Now, lots of the ideas in the fair, obviously, just to kind of introduce us to various ideas that will appear later in the game. We've also got the Vigor adverts over there that we discussed in Part 1. We've got various mini-games that allow us to use for mini-games. We get our first kind of view of the skylines that will hang on later. We've got references to the Vox Populi, the idea that there is an enemy within the idea, and there's our first reference to Daisy Fitzroy in there as well. And we also have our first first possibility to buy Vigor as well, but of course we don't have enough yet. We've got the inventor of the voxophone here, who is obviously responsible for all of the voxophones that we pick up throughout the game and all the kind of plotline bits that we get there. But this is, rather than being a kind of discussion of the future, this is more of a kind of just an expansion of the world, fleshing it out, making it seem far more real. And I hope you agree with me that the game's creators have done a really, really brilliant job of creating an earlier kind of American paradise in this particular world. Some people have kind of been commenting on various forums that this is the idea behind this is that it's supposed to be like a idealized America, but one of course which misses out the idea that these people live in paradise because other people live in poverty. Later on, of course, we'll discover the Vox Populi, the poor, the impoverished, the Irish, the blacks, all of them are exploited, so these guys can live well. And some people have suggested that there may be possibly be a parallel drawn to modern day politics, that people kind of look back on the past too favourably without really thinking about how the past was actually a result of other kind of political motivations. But it's an interesting idea. I don't know how much I subscribe to it, but it is definitely an interesting idea. Of course, this is the handyman that later on we will come to battle. A rather sad character, isn't he? He doesn't seem to particularly enjoy what's happened to him. But nevertheless, that we will have to take him on later. One of Bioshock 1 and 2's strengths was adverts constantly. Infinite doesn't have them all the way as much as those games, but we do still have some adverts around, especially in relating to the Vigors that we will be picking up later. So let's crack on. Obviously we can't get through the door yet because we can't control the machine, but with our free sample,
with just a whisper, they're all is.
with our free sample from glazy-eyed, scary kissing girl, then we have our first Vigor, which of course is possession, which is a very useful Vigor. Especially when it comes to the Patriot machines later on, as we will see. But as it starts off, it is a very expensive one to use as well. And assault machine over here to keep us kind of topped up. Let's give it a blast.
Well, if it isn't a gentleman, Buford, your spot at the Raffle awaits. Don't know why I didn't recognize you before.
I don't know either.
Always good to have gentlemen of your caliber in our fine fairgrounds.
Of course. Now this scene coming up here is one of the most important and most discussed. So let's watch it first and then we'll explain it a little bit.
Heads.
Or tails.
Come on, let me through. Heads.
Or tails.
Now, the idea here is no matter what we flick, we will get heads. We can see the board at the moment with, was it 13 heads on there, but when, of course, he turns around, there are a lot more. This is the idea, again, of, in Bioshock, of the multi-universe theory of constants and variables. Some things are possible to be changed, some things will always be the same. The result of this coin toss
Told you. I never find that as satisfying as I'd imagined.
Chin up. There's always next time.
I suppose there is.
The result of this coin toss is always the same. It's always heads. Now, this is possibly also a reference to the idea that the Luteces, I'm sorry, I think in the first video I called them Luteces. I've corrected my pronunciation. The Luteces have been here before with you. You are not the first booker. In fact, we are the 122nd booker to make it to Columbia with their assistance. So they've, in a sense, have got this wrong 121 times and hoping to get it right with the 122nd version, which is you. Incidentally, another little bit of trivia, the code to get in to Columbia at the lighthouse was 122. Could just be coincidence, but it could be a reference to the fact that you again are the 122nd booker to make it up to Columbia. And as we approach the raffle, we shall have a look at various machines. Playing in 1999 mode, there is an extra achievement for not using dollar bill machines, but I'm not too fussed about that. I'm more fussed about having an interesting experience to watch and staying alive, so I will be using the dollar bill machines when I need them. I just think it's more fun to call them dollar bill machines as well. Hello, policeman.
This little beauty? The whole division got them. We're gonna flush the box out of the Skyline system. We gotta have the best.
Talking about the manufacture of equipment there, I've been having a little go at the Industrial Revolution minigame, which was the... have a look at the statue there. That was Luteces, male version changing into female version. Remember, they aren't just brother and sister, they are actually the same person, separated by a single chromosome. Again, a variable being between universes being one being female, one being male, but the constant, of course, being that they are still geniuses. Yeah, I've been playing the Industrial Revolution minigame, which was one of the pre-order ideas, and that kind of goes into a little bit more detail about the combat between the founders and the Vox Populi. And let's play our next log.
Madam Luteces, I've read all your books
There's
on
a
the sciences.
cute little
Mama
songbird
says
there.
it's not a fit occupation for a lady, but I think she's jealous of our cleverness. Is it true that only you are allowed to visit the girl in the tower? If the lamb is lonely too, I should like to meet her, as we would have much in common. Warmest regards, Constance.
Thank you very much, Constance. Again, I'm sure her name is not an accident there. Constance, variables, references throughout the game to this idea of the multiple timelines once again. That's a little view, various balloons, so we're all here to celebrate the raffle and fair, so let's move on to our first encounter with the false shepherd. Now let's talk about that hand a little bit. Obviously the AD on your hand, if you haven't worked it out, stands for Anna DeWitt, which is your daughter, the one that you sold, and you've carved it on yourself as a mark of penance or regret. Comstock, through looking through the tears, knows that you will be coming, and therefore he's used the carving on your hand as a way of warning people that you are not to be trusted, and he's given you the name the False Shepherd to try and rise up people against you. So that hopefully explains the hand carving and why those posters are there. Comstock is not some great prophet predicting an antichrist. He is simply trying to prevent you from getting to a place where you can take what he sees as his daughter from him. So let's move towards the lovely raffle where paradise falls away and reality sets in. And children, if you're watching, this may soon be your moment to look away as the gore begins.
1912 raffle has officially begun!
Mister!
Hello.
Sorry, no sale.
Oh, you'd
There's never a charge for the raffle.
like me to take one of your balls?
77.
77. That's a lucky number. I'll be rooting for you.
Bring me the bowl! Is that not the prettiest young white girl in all of Columbia?
Possibly our first reference to race there, prettiest young white girl. And of course we win 77 because that is a constant. We always win no matter what happens. Yep, it's me. I win.
First throw.
It was me. It was all me. Please. What are you doing?
Come on. Are you gonna throw it? Or are you taking your coffee black these days?
Well, clearly this is unacceptable, so we're going to peg it at him instead. We're going to throw it at the announcer. Hiya! But no matter which way we...
It's him.
No matter which way we throw this, your hand gets caught either way.
Don't you know that makes you the backstabbing snake in the grass false shepherd? And we ain't letting no false shepherd into our flock. Show them what we got planned, boys!
And by the power of baseball, I have the power!
Stop him! Stop him!
And we'll grab ourselves the skyhook,
Lead our lamb astray!
and we will... Oh, he legged it. Oh, he hasn't legged it. Okay, right, one at a time. Hoya! Hoya! When you see a skull on the enemy, you can hold melee to execute. I have changed my control slightly, but I'll talk about that in a future video. I find my setup works a little bit easier, but we will discuss that later on. Oh, I've lost one. Let's see if we can get an execute going. Oh, didn't need to. Okay, now, what just happened in this scene? Obviously, the whole of Colombia is based on the idea of racism and pure breeding. This is something seen from Hitler's Nazis, with the Aryan race, and even seen today in various parts of like modern neo-Nazism. They want to keep the race pure, and therefore the idea of having a mixed race marriage would dilute the genes and ruin the paradise they have invented. Therefore, any kind of idea of mixed relations is completely unacceptable to them. And therefore, they would want to take them out, humiliate them as an advert to other people as well. Right, hopefully here we're going to get our first gun with a little bit of ducking and covering. Let's hope this guy's a bad shot. Let's take the direct route. And here is our gun. Now, we're playing with the pre-order DLC, so we have the rather unsubtle man with the golden gun approach. But hopefully that should make things a little bit cooler. That also means we've got a slight damage upgrade from the vanilla Bioshock as well. If you're interested in the pre-order DLC, I made a video about it yesterday, so just log on to my channel and you can check that out. Let's listen to our audio log before we move on.
I told you, Comstock. You sell them paradise, and the customers expect cherubs for every chore. No menials in God's kingdom. Well, I have a man in Georgia who'll lease us as many Negro convicts as you can board. Why, you can say they're simple souls in penance for rising above their station. Whatever eases your conscience, I suppose.
And the idea of the pure race continues here. We've got two cages with monkeys on them. No guessing for what would be contained in there. Although it's interesting to note as we get further in the game that although there have been no black people in the first parts of the game, and they are very much around and used as servants, but hidden away. We're at possession aids, as ability to possess humans who suicide when the effect expires. I never really used that one very much, but for only 50, we might as well.
Possession now turns machine and man into allies. Hold and release to create a ghostly trap.
And we now have the possibility not only of using possession to turn machines around, we can use it to make people top themselves, which is always a pleasant thing to do. And we have our first issue with a turret. I think we will use the possession on it. Let's see if we get some shots in first of all. I can't remember if this wears off or whether he's now permanently mine, but let's take him out anyway, just in case. Oh, yeah, it turned off. Woo! Okay, note to self: kill them before they. And our first rather gory execution. Thank you very much, Bioshock. We need to keep picking up health here. We won't pick up the shield for another few rooms yet, so it's going to be important that we remain on top of things. There's another automated turret further down here, so let's bring that on side. And the turret is down. Right, let's get ourselves some health, please. Yes, I realise that they're doing so. I will have undone my ability to get the achievement, but I'm alright with it. And a couple of little nice headshots will see us through. And we're just going to fight our way through now to the next section, but of course we're about to have our first experience with the fireman. Now, the fireman is going to be vulnerable to quite a lot of things we pick up later on, but the first fight is mainly going to be a shooting fest, so we will need to make sure we've got as much health and as much ammo as possible, and hopefully we won't die screaming. Okay, so Comstock's paradise begins to turn into chaos. So far at the moment we're just seen as an anarchist, someone to be feared, not although they have identified us as this kind of false shepherd. We're going to start searching for Elizabeth in earnest a little bit later on. But we come to our first significant boss battle in the game. We will try and use possession on him. I can't remember how vulnerable he is to that actually, but let's try it out.
What's going on?
Certainly he doesn't top himself. Yep, he is vulnerable to it.
Vigor.
Quick bit of possession and a bunch of blasting. Right, and we've got our second vigor, the Devil's Kiss.
Well, you only live once.
It's interesting that one of the vigors or plasmids that they didn't bring across from Bioshock 1 was the telekinesis one, the ability to kind of throw objects around. I don't know about you, but a lot of people have missed that one. It was fun picking up secret objects from a distance or throwing objects back at people, but for whatever reason they decided that that was something they weren't going to bring into Bioshock Infinite, but they have created a nice collection of alternatives.
No sample.
But we've still got the standard fire and fire, electricity, some sort of kind of mental takeover, but given in a slightly different order to how they were in the first games. And here we arrive at the Blue Ribbon, which is going to be the location where we pick up our pre-order DLC, both the early bird version and the Industrial Revolution version, and I didn't see that one coming. Right, note to self, look before you leap. Whew. Sorry, that was a little bit more dramatic than I was expecting. And the Blue Ribbon, of course, is where we will pick up the shields from the Luteces. Remember, they are here, although they might kind of mock us and tease us, they are here to help us. They are here to help us on our way. They want us to succeed because it is, basically, this is their mess. They invented the machine that created Comstock's ability to predict. They were the ones that actually collected Anna from DeWitt in the first place, and now they have basically become guilty. They feel remorse. Remorse being another big theme in the game. DeWitt feels remorse for his actions at the Battle of Wounded Knee, but Comstock does not, and because of the remorse or lack of remorse, they become different people. And in the Luteces, you've got one who feels remorse and one who doesn't, but because they are a pair, they have both decided to do what they would probably see as the right thing. Season Pass has awarded me 4 gear pieces, a golden machine gun, and a golden pistol upgrade. Industrial Revolution has given me 500 single eagles and some more gear pieces, so hurrah for me. These videos here were basically just explaining the story so much, the fact that we were initially part of America and then we legged it, and the fact that the Prophet will not stand up to any possibility of
Why are you following
revolution within the city. Now, how are the Luteces able to do this? Well, the simple answer is that they're kind of dead. They have been. Well, I'll talk while I pick up these things here. I'm going to go for salts first, so we can get the vigors kind of working at maximum capability. We've got 5 of them from the DLC, which is going to be a nice early boost to our abilities. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we've got the shield, of course, from the Luteces. Now, yeah, they are effectively dead. Gemma, I think, was assigned to kill them and destroy the machine, but they became trapped between the realities. They're not really in one universe or the other. They can kind of travel as they wish, but they are trapped.
Surprising that it worked.
Surprising that it didn't kill him.
But the magnetic repulsor field around one's body can come in.
Indeed it can. Well, it shouldn't go in. But the male Lutece is very gloomy, very upset about this particular case being trapped, whereas the female one doesn't seem to mind it very much. Again, 2 sides of the same coin, but they are not exactly the same person in the same way that Comstock and Booker are not as well. So I've made a whole video about these. You check out the video I released yesterday. I do some demos of what all this kind of stuff does, but I'm just going to quickly pick these up. We've got ammo advantage, which we will definitely be using. Weapon damage increase, we might be using electric punch. I will equip that one straight away. Ghost soldier's pretty cool if we end up using some traps, but it probably won't be installed all the time. A gold bar, because for 500 coins, thank you. Fleet feet, which will increase our sidestepping and backwards moving. More damage against handyman, yes please. And the Sugar Rush, which will give us a ridiculous speed boost. Now, And I believe the lockpicks we will be picking up a little bit later in the game. Now, one of the differences in Bioshock Infinite is that we can change figures at any point, and we can change gear at any point. We don't have to be at a gatherer's garden or similar machine. And we're going to start off with the electric punch because it's the only one we have, but will give us some excellent extra damage. We're going to go for the ammo advantage, which will increase our magazine sizes. We're going to keep the fleet feet for now. To help us moving around, but we'll use the Skyline one a little bit later, and we've got no other option other than Ghost Soldier at this particular second. So let's crack on and pick up our next Vox phone.
I told you, Comstock. You sell them paradise, and the customers expect cherubs for every chore. No menials in God's kingdom. Well, I have a man in Georgia who'll lease us as many Negro convicts as you can board. Why, you can say they're simple souls in penance for rising above their station. Whatever eases your conscience, I suppose.
So let's grab our next Vox phone here, which is Ed Gaines, who is
Comstock,
as far as I know, isn't a character
to write his biograph.
any further.
The man pays for exactly 100 pages in advance. Now, I'm half a Jew when I smell silver, so I say, Father, your flock would pay for 1,000. You know, why settle for less? And then the prophet looks to me and says, 100 will suffice, as I know how it ends.
Bunch of things in there. I mean, first of all, this isn't a major character, but he is someone like all the citizens of Columbia who is heavily influenced by the Prophet. As CM Punk would say, it's the cult of personality. You know, he's set himself up as some kind of leader, some kind of demigod amongst these people. And there was a reference to Jewish people in the middle of that. The idea of pure breed race applies to black people, as we saw, but later we'll have Irish people mentioned, and we've got Jewish people mentioned there as well. In a sense, they are equal opportunity racists to anyone that is not part of what they see as the pure divinity of the white Aryan nations. Sodom is obviously a biblical reference to Sodom and Gomorrah. They were seen as two evil cities that were destroyed by God for their wickedness. I'm not going to go into detail about what sodomy is. You can look that up for yourself on the web and get some interesting results, I am sure. Right, now we've got a bunch of people here that we need to take down, but we are just about out of time for episode 2. So join me for episode 3, Bioshock Explained, where we'll take these guys on and properly get into some of the combat and tactics. I hope you've enjoyed this explanation. If you'd like to see the series continue, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you've got any other theories about the plotline in Bioshock, then do hit it in the comment section below, and we'll get some discussion going about all of the different meanings and symbolism of the issues in the game. Thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.